Support. Don't be indifferent, brother. Now is the time to stand up to overthrow the Islamic Republic. Long live the Shah of Iran.
What you see here is not just a strike. It is the biggest logistical suicide in modern history. Iran's logistical lifelines have been cut off from Shiraz to Tabriz and from Isfahan to Bandar Abbas port. Truck drivers have pulled the plug on the Mullah regime's life support system by turning off their engines. In this oil-rich country, trucks cannot find fuel and have reached a point where they cannot even transport bread to their own capital. It all began on the morning of January 11th, 2026, in Shiraz, with that invisible but destructive signal on the ground. Footage verified and served by Iran International clearly shows drivers using their vehicles as barricades, defying the regime with Javid Shah slogans, completely breaking through the wall of fear. When Shiraz truck drivers and the local business community blocked the highways, not for a simple wage increase or fuel subsidy dispute, but with a much more dangerous and existential motivation for the regime, namely solidarity with the national revolution, the regime's security protocols were caught completely unprepared. This action was less a standard work stoppage and more an organized, synchronized, and tactical logistical sabotage. Furthermore, on January 11th, 2026, general calls were made. It was reported that truck drivers had begun striking and threatened to burn trucks seen on the roads. While this has the potential to create a logistical crisis, the likelihood of it happening is uncertain. This statement implies that the strike could escalate. The massive trucks blocking the highways did not just stop traffic, they cut off the regime's entire logistics corridor from south to north with impassable physical barriers. The strike intensified in Tehran and its surroundings starting January 10th, 2026. Strikes by merchants in the Grand Bazaar merged with truck drivers' participation and paralyzed transport routes in the capital.
While the world debates minor conflicts and political disagreements, secret alliances are quietly forming. Nations that have long been rivals are negotiating clandestine pacts, often in remote locations away from the prying eyes of the media. The reality is that the next world war will not start with a public declaration, but with coordinated movements, silent cooperation, and pre-planned engagements across multiple theaters. The United States, while publicly focused on diplomacy, is quietly reinforcing ties with NATO members, deploying rapid response units, and providing advanced intelligence to select allies. Military exercises labeled routine often conceal far more. Sophisticated joint operations, testing interoperability between air, naval, and cyber units. These exercises also serve as a warning to adversaries. The global powers are ready, even if the public remains unaware. Russia is simultaneously building covert alliances with nations, strategically positioned in Asia, Europe, and the Middle East. These partnerships often involve undisclosed arms transfers, joint intelligence programs, and cyber coordination. Moscow's moves are calculated to create pockets of influence, ensuring that if conflict erupts, it can leverage multiple regions simultaneously. Meanwhile, China is advancing its sphere of influence in the Indo-Pacific, not only through traditional military deployments, but also through covert cyber operations, economic leverage, and control over strategic shipping routes. Their silent preparations emphasize deterrence, creating a complex matrix of forces that could act almost instantaneously in a global conflict. Smaller nations are not passive observers. Many are positioning themselves as either power brokers or safe havens, securing their borders, building intelligence networks, and forming secretive defense agreements. These alliances may never be publicly acknowledged, but they exist, shaping the balance of power for a war that the world does not yet see coming. A key factor in the preparation for World War III is technological supremacy. Unlike previous conflicts, the future battlefield will not rely solely on traditional armies. Drone swarms, hypersonic missiles, AI-controlled weaponry, and advanced electronic warfare systems are becoming the core tools of modern warfare. Nations are racing to develop these capabilities, understanding that the first one to gain an advantage may define the outcome. The United States is testing new autonomous drone fleets, capable of long-range reconnaissance, electronic disruption, and precision strikes without human intervention. Cyber units are simulating large-scale attacks on enemy infrastructure, including power grids, communication networks, and satellite systems. The focus is not just on offense. Defense systems are being upgraded to detect and neutralize incoming threats in seconds, giving them a decisive edge in the opening hours of a conflict. Everyone believes that world peace is holding, that nations only prepare for minor conflicts, and that global powers won't risk a large-scale war, but the current reality proves otherwise. While governments issue statements of diplomacy and public calm, silent movements of troops, undisclosed military exercises, and secret alliances are already shaping a conflict of unprecedented scale. And this changes everything. The war is not announced on TV. It doesn't come with banners, and no official warning is issued. Yet. The world's major militaries, from Russia to the United States, from China to Israel, are quietly shifting strategies, stockpiling weapons, and testing advanced technologies. These actions are invisible to the public eye, hidden behind the curtain of international politics and fake calm, and it is this unseen preparation that will define the next decade, transforming geopolitics, economies, and even everyday lives. The question is not if World War III is possible, but how it is already unfolding. While the world debates over minor crises, powers are moving silently, calibrating the war that moves. Headline: this hidden tension is why nations are secretly building infrastructure, from cyber warfare units to missile silos, in regions thought to be safe. Every naval patrol, every arms-length military exercise, and every sudden shipment of arms is a clue. Today, the focus is on three central dynamics that reveal the invisible war: technological arms race, silent economic warfare, and covert military positioning. Russia, weakened yet defiant, is moving troops into strategic regions that are barely reported. The United States, while publicly engaging in diplomacy, is secretly supplying advanced systems to allies and testing rapid deployment strategies across multiple continents. Meanwhile, nations like China and Iran are silently expanding this field of influence, preparing for scenarios that could escalate into full-blown conflict at a moment's notice. The world believes war will announce itself in explosions and headlines, but the current situation proves that the next conflict will begin quietly, and this changes everything. It alters how countries negotiate, how businesses operate, and how citizens perceive the security of their lives. The battlefields may not appear overnight, but the preparation is ongoing, relentless, and global. Imagine a map of the world, red zones gradually appearing across continents, not as news alerts, but as movements of troops, installations, and secret pacts. Invisible lines of conflict stretch across oceans and deserts. Unseen cyber attacks test the resilience of critical infrastructures, while satellites silently monitor enemy capabilities. Every nation's intelligence service is engaged in an invisible chess game. This is the reality behind the calm headlines.